But when make-believe journalists ask make-believe basketball players about gambling, or if they support dudes with beards being allowed in the WNBA, if make-believe journalists ask questions that have absolutely nothing to do with basketball, there are no consequences. And there's damn sure no consequences for WNBA players who were busted betting on their own games.
Sometimes the controversy that matters most has nothing to do with the action during the game. It begins with what happens or fails to happen once the final buzzer sounds. A single choice by the WNBA has now left fans questioning whether the league applies its policies consistently or quietly gives certain players more flexibility than others. Was this merely an ordinary internal matter that required no public punishment, or did the league just provide its critics with another example of stars seemingly operating under a different set of standards? The incident itself may appear small, but the questions surrounding it reach directly into fairness, transparency, gambling policy, and public trust. So let's examine exactly what happened, how the league responded, and why the debate has continued instead of disappearing.
You might be staring at a gone-for-life situation. If this was the MLB, you would be gone for life. See Pete Rose. If it was the NFL, well, Calvin Ridley would say, really? Pagebackers from All-Star Weekend made themselves a wager. All right?
And the controversy centered on the Dream Wings matchup. Angel Reese suddenly found herself at the heart of the newest argument. And almost immediately, Caitlin Clark's name was dragged into the discussion, as fans imagined how differently the situation might have unfolded had Clark been involved. Yet the most revealing scene from All-Star Weekend was not a spectacular crossover, a deep three-pointer, a highlight-worthy pass, or a dramatic fourth-quarter possession. It came through the kind of casual interaction that would normally vanish beneath everything else happening during a long season. Angel Reese and Paige Buchers, two of the league's most recognizable young stars, appeared to make a playful agreement involving a future matchup between their teams. Cash could be seen, cameras were already recording, and what may have felt like harmless competitive joking quickly created the foundation for a much larger controversy.
Well, the WNBA is currently being called out by mainstream media for not taking accountability for this Paige Buchers and Angel Reese gambling scandal. Yes, it is a scandal at this point. Now, the WNBA released a statement yesterday stating that there will be no punishment for Paige Buchers nor Angel Reese in regard to their off-court bet that was displayed in front of the world. And what stands out to me more than anything is that they was the ones to share this to them.
Initially, the exchange looked like ordinary athlete banter, the kind of friendly challenge that has existed in locker rooms, practices, and team buses for generations. Players compete, joke, make playful promises, and search for ways to add personal stakes to future matchups, without anyone necessarily believing the conversation is serious. But then the Dream and Wings eventually faced each other. Reese's team came away with the victory, and a post-game question unexpectedly pulled the earlier moment back into the spotlight. What had previously seemed like a forgettable joke was now being connected to an actual result. Once that happened, viewers began examining the original exchange more carefully, asking whether it had truly been nothing more than playful trash talk, or whether it involved an agreement tied directly to the outcome of a WNBA game.
So a source tells me there will be no punishment for Angel Reese or Paige Buchers in regard to the betting video that was posted by the WNBA. The WNBA itself, a spokesperson, has issued a statement in regard to that. So there is a official statement on the record as well. This is what the statement reads. I will show you. I posted it online and you can read it for yourself.
This is where the situation became complicated. An interaction that may have been created as comedy suddenly transformed into a league-wide argument about gambling restrictions, competitive integrity, public perception, and the risks created when every casual moment is uploaded for millions of people to interpret. The social media element is especially significant because this was not footage uncovered by an investigator, secretly recorded by an anonymous source, or captured from a distant seat by someone hoping to expose the players. Nobody had to leak private messages or search through hidden evidence. The clip was openly produced, displayed, and circulated in a way that suggested the people involved did not initially see it as dangerous. That made the eventual response even more revealing, because once the public began applying the league's gambling language to the video, an apparently harmless joke no longer looked so simple.
At All-Star Weekend, you and Angel made a bet with each other on this game. Is that bet still? This is how the rich stay rich.
You gotta save this money. I'm gonna see you next week on Wednesday.
Yeah.
At night?
No, at practice.
Oh, at practice? I mean, I know y'all gonna lose, but if y'all lose.
Paige Beckers and Angel Reese appeared on camera making a $400 wager on a WNBA game involving their own team.
The WNBA itself had shared the content. In a sports landscape that has become extremely sensitive to anything involving gambling, that choice elevated an informal exchange into a much more serious issue. Professional leagues now operate in a complicated ecosystem where sportsbook sponsorships, betting advertisements, fantasy competitions, player props, integrity reviews, injury reports, and non-stop social media analysis all exist at the same time. Something that might have passed unnoticed a decade ago can now be clipped, replayed, screen recorded, slowed down, debated, and converted into national headlines within minutes. The league may have viewed the footage as a funny interaction between popular players. Many viewers instead saw two active athletes discussing what appeared to be a wager associated with an upcoming game involving their own teams. After criticism grew, the WNBA removed the post and released a statement acknowledging that the content had caused concern. The league explained that the post had been intended as a lighthearted moment but admitted that it missed the mark. It also stressed that players receive annual education regarding policies prohibiting bets on WNBA competition and stated that the situation had been addressed internally. That response confirmed the league recognized the seriousness of the optics, even if it stopped short of announcing a public disciplinary action.
Yesterday, when we discussed Paige Beckers and Angel Reese betting on pretend basketball, which, by the way, why would anyone risk their money betting on this dump? Betting on the WNBA, it's like betting on the WWE. It ain't real. Who are you betting on at SummerSlam this weekend? I'm taking Spunk Rollins at plus 400 to defeat the tribal turd Norman Reigns.
The statement also explained that even joking conversations about wagering on WNBA games can create harmful consequences. That wording is crucial because it identifies the heart of the dispute. The league did not describe the interaction as a criminal operation, accuse either player of manipulating a contest, or publicly announce that a formal gambling violation had been proven. At the same time, it refused to treat the exchange as completely irrelevant. Instead, the WNBA acknowledged that the video produced exactly the kind of appearance every professional sports organization works to prevent. The written rules are the main reason the story has remained alive. The gambling provisions in the WNBA's collective bargaining agreement are intentionally expansive. They prohibit direct or indirect betting on league competition and address more than completed sportsbook transactions. The language also covers offering or attempting to wager money or anything else of value on a game's outcome, score, or related result. Policies like these are not designed only for obvious cases involving secret accounts, manipulated statistics, or proven game fixing. They are written broadly because difficult situations often exist in uncomfortable gray areas, where intent, evidence, public appearance, and confidence in the competition collide. That does not mean every joke involving cash should automatically trigger the maximum punishment available. Any fair process still requires context, investigation, and a determination of what actually occurred. But broad language creates broad questions, especially when the footage itself appears to show behavior the policy was designed to discourage.
And they released a statement also stating that each player know that they shouldn't be doing all of these said things. But just like I stated to you guys yesterday, if this was the NBA, NFL, NHL, MLB, these players will be in serious trouble. And it makes it real hard to take a lead like this serious when you have accusations, and not even accusations at this point. Angel Reese said it for herself in her interview post-game press conference that she's going to be requesting.
Promising to buy someone dinner after a game is clearly different from secretly trying to alter the outcome of that game. A playful personal challenge between friends is not equivalent to an athlete opening a sportsbook account and placing money on a contest in which she is participating. Those distinctions matter, and ignoring them would lead to unreasonable enforcement. Still, the wide scope of the rule leaves supporters with a legitimate question. When a player appears on camera offering money based on a future result, and later refers publicly to receiving payment after that result occurs, where exactly does the league establish the boundary? The explanation cannot simply be that everyone was laughing. Sports history has demonstrated repeatedly that confidence in competition can erode before investigators ever prove deliberate manipulation. Players are not ordinary spectators observing games from the outside. They possess inside information, direct influence, access to teammates, knowledge of injuries, and credibility that regular bettors do not have. That difference is why professional leagues hold participants to restrictions that do not apply to fans. Modern audiences understand this, even while the sports gambling industry often sends a confusing message by surrounding athletes with betting promotions while demanding that the athletes themselves remain completely separated from wagering activity.
Social media post was intended to be lighthearted. WNBA players are well aware of the league's policies prohibiting betting on WNBA games and receive training every year reinforcing those policies. We recognized that the post missed the mark, removed it shortly after it was published, and addressed the matter internally. We will also use this as an opportunity to re-emphasize with the players involved that conversations about wagering on WNBA games, even when intended as a joke, can have negative consequences. Look, I see a lot of false equivalence.
The league can advertise betting partners, broadcast live odds, discuss point spreads, display prop markets, and encourage fans to engage with games financially. Yet players, coaches, referees, executives, trainers, and team employees are expected to stay entirely outside that marketplace. From a distance, the arrangement may seem contradictory, but the reasoning is simple. When a fan loses money after making a poor prediction, that person can blame an unexpected shooting slump or a bad read of the matchup. When a participant wagers on her own competition, every missed free throw, unusual turnover, questionable substitution, late foul, and controversial whistle becomes vulnerable to suspicion. That is why the Reese Buchers footage was interpreted differently from two friends making a casual bet during a backyard barbecue. Both women were active WNBA players. Their conversation appeared to concern an upcoming league game. Visible cash was part of the exchange, and a later remark seemed to reference collecting payment after the result. Whether it represented a genuine wager, a staged social media joke, or an informal personal challenge can only be determined fully by the players and the league office. But viewers did not manufacture the concern without reason. The WNBA's decision to delete the clip, acknowledge that it missed the mark, and handle the matter internally shows that league officials understood why the footage was problematic. Once gambling enters a public conversation, intent is no longer the only consideration. Perception begins shaping the story independently, and the organization loses control over how every piece of the exchange is interpreted.
The Atlanta Dream came away with an 82-81 win over the Dallas Wings. The WNBA's own social media account posted the footage and then quickly deleted it when people pointed out that the league had seemingly publicized a violation of its own gambling policy. Now, the Associated Press reports that Beckers and Reese will...
The episode also became another battleground in the wider debate over consistency. A significant group of fans believes the WNBA manages controversies involving its most valuable or marketable stars more delicately than incidents involving less prominent players. Some argued that Caitlin Clark would have received far greater criticism, louder media coverage, or stronger punishment had she appeared in an identical video. That hypothetical cannot be established as fact because Clark was not involved, and it would be unreasonable to prove a double standard through an event that never occurred. Nevertheless, the frustration behind the comparison is understandable. Supporters want disciplinary policies that remain stable regardless of popularity, jersey sales, audience size, media influence, or personal branding. A rule loses credibility when people believe its enforcement changes according to the identity of the player involved. Reese already possesses a massive following, a powerful public profile, and a competitive style that consistently creates passionate reactions. Buchers entered the professional league with enormous attention built through her college career and was immediately positioned as one of the faces of the WNBA's future. These are not unknown players fighting for the final roster position. They are central figures in the league's next generation. That reality makes the WNBA's handling of the issue more consequential. The organization is expanding at the exact moment when every decision is examined frame by frame. A private resolution might be entirely appropriate if an investigation found no actual wager, but silence naturally generates suspicion when the public language of the policy appears far stricter than the visible response.
Did it on video, cash in hand. The WNBA thought it was cute, and somebody put it up on their social media, shared it, in a league where betting is supposedly prohibited. Now, the WNBA is considered...
Reese's post-game remark could be understood as the continuation of an inside joke for several innocent reasons. Viewed by itself, the comment may simply have reflected friendly competition between players who expected teammates, opponents, and fans familiar with the original clip to understand the humor. Athletes regularly make exaggerated statements after victories, particularly when they know the surrounding context. But when the remark was combined with the earlier footage, many people interpreted it as confirmation that some kind of agreement had been connected to the result. That is the point where a private joke becomes a public relations problem. Each individual moment may have an innocent explanation, yet when the moments are assembled, they create a narrative the league cannot completely control. A small public fine, a formal warning, or even a brief suspension could have demonstrated that the WNBA takes its gambling rules seriously, while still recognizing that the episode appeared limited in scope. Instead, saying only that the matter had been dealt with internally left fans guessing about what investigation occurred, what conclusion officials reached, whether any penalty was imposed, and whether the gambling provisions have meaningful force when a controversy includes major stars. The uncertainty became the story because the league gave the audience no clear endpoint.
Gambling controversy strikes the WNBA, only this time they made their own mistake. Paige Beckers and Angel Reese got caught gambling on their own game by the W's own Instagram account. They posted a video of the two of them talking about a bet, $400.
If y'all win, you get it 400.
On their own game, Wings versus Dream, winner takes the money. It was up for a bit, framed like a cute moment. Except there's a rule against this. Players can't bet on WNBA games, doesn't matter if it's on an app or between two people. It's in the CBA. Fine, suspension, or whatever.
There is, of course, another plausible explanation. The WNBA may have reviewed the exchange and decided that it did not satisfy the definition of an actual wager under league rules. Officials may have concluded that the visible money was merely a prop, that neither player seriously intended to exchange anything valuable, or that no payment was ultimately made according to the outcome. That possibility deserves consideration, and due process remains important. A professional league should not punish athletes simply because a short clip can be framed dramatically or edited into an accusation online. Context must matter, and popularity on social media cannot replace evidence. Yet even if the league reached that conclusion, greater transparency would have reduced the controversy. The WNBA could have announced that it investigated the interaction, found no punishable violation, and nevertheless reminded all players why publicly joking about bets involving league games is inappropriate. Such an explanation would have provided a direct answer instead of encouraging supporters and critics to invent their own conclusions. The argument intensified partly because it arrived during a period when gambling investigations, betting scandals, disputed officiating, and integrity concerns had already made sports audiences unusually alert. Fans have watched leagues suspend players, investigate unusual betting patterns, revise injury reporting requirements, and confront the rapidly growing influence of sportsbooks throughout the entertainment business. Even so, the most ordinary explanation is usually the correct one. Officials miss calls, athletes make mistakes, coaches choose questionable substitutions, and basketball becomes unpredictable when 10 elite competitors are moving at full speed.
Also, they made a video of two WNBA players betting on a game that isn't against the rules. I don't understand what the rules are if you can do what they did. Unless they were playing, like, it's no big deal if like, I don't know, Scotty Scheffler and, the Koiven guy, they get together for a practice round and they got some money on the game.
That reality must remain part of the conversation whenever legitimate scrutiny turns into speculation. A strange whistle, an awkward turnover in the final minute, or an unexpected missed shot does not automatically prove that a game was manipulated. The WNBA produces intense contests, complicated officiating sequences, and close decisions that can look different depending on the camera angle. That is normal basketball. Treating every disputed moment as evidence of a massive conspiracy only weakens serious conversations about gambling policy by burying reasonable concerns beneath noise. The central issue is much narrower and far more important. When leagues ask fans to trust their competitions, they must enforce gambling rules consistently, explain public conclusions when highly visible incidents occur, and prevent unnecessary ambiguity. Previous generations of athletes did not carry full production studios in their pockets, or perform constantly in front of audiences capable of treating a short social media exchange like courtroom evidence. That does not excuse careless judgment, particularly when the league's policy is known, but it provides relevant context. The ideal response is not a public destruction of two young players over a joke. It is a firm lesson for every athlete, coach, employee, executive, and social media manager connected to the league. The guidance should be unmistakable. Do not joke about betting on WNBA games. Do not wave cash while discussing a future result. Do not upload the interaction through official league channels. And do not create a situation where fans are left wondering whether the standards change depending on who appears in the video.
Paige Beckers and Angel Reese agreeing to a bet on a regular season game.
I'm an idiot. I thought this was like the All-Star game that they did this for.
No, it's a regular season game last night. Game happens. Angel Reese's dream win. Angel Reese is asked about it after the game.
Yeah, I'll be requesting my Apple Pay after this.
She said she's requesting her Apple Pay. They asked her about the bet, and she confirmed it. You cannot make it up.
And it came from the WNBA account.
The WNBA currently stands at a moment of extraordinary opportunity. Its most recognizable players are bringing new audiences into the sport. Games are generating greater attention, and the league's cultural importance continues to rise. But expansion creates pressure, and that pressure reveals weaknesses in judgment, communication, and enforcement. This incident is minor compared with the historic integrity scandals that have damaged other sports. Yet small controversies can become defining when an organization appears uncertain about its own response. The worst approach would be acting as though the public cannot read the gambling policy, watch the footage, connect the later comments, and understand why concerns emerged. The reasonable conclusion is not to demand lifetime bans because of an apparently playful interaction. It is also not to pretend the exchange was meaningless simply because the players may have been joking. The league should clearly explain what its review established, clarify how its rules apply to informal personal wagers and public humor, and enforce that standard consistently in future cases. In an era when every dollar, every decision, every missed call, and every video clip can be examined by millions of people, competitive integrity is far too valuable to be left unresolved over what looked like an Apple Pay joke.